Let's be honest, being the star of The Bachelorette can't be easy. Some bachelorettes flourish in their role, while others not so much. Here are the top 7 best and worst bachelorettes in the history of the franchise.
This finger is ready.
It took a whopping 13 seasons for us to get an African-American bachelorette, but Rachel Lindsay was well worth the wait.
Rachel is the total package. She's the triple threat: brains, beauty, personality.
A great conversationalist and whip-smart, Lindsay won our hearts early on with her grace and intelligence, even going up against Demario Jackson's lies. Then, of course, there was Peter Krause, who quickly became one of the most beloved contestants of the entire show.
I feel like you don't know what you want to do.
I don't.
I want somebody who knows what they want to do.
Sadly, though, Krause didn't think he could propose to Lindsay in the season finale. But even so, Rachel gave us everything we wanted: drama, fun, romance, and thought-provoking conversations about race. She elevated the show to new heights, and frankly, it hasn't reached that high point since her departure. Lindsay finally got her real-life happy ending and will marry her beloved Brian Abasolo in August 2019.
Cheers to keeping it interesting and exciting.
It's rough when even Chris Harrison doesn't agree with her choices. DeAnna Pappas kicked off her streak of bad decisions by dumping fan favorite Jason Mesnick. Then she broke it off with her winner, Jesse Sinsak, under pretty messy circumstances.
I'm the one here trying to figure things out, and if you guys can't handle it, go home.
Harrison told LA's Valentine in the morning, "DeAnna, she's getting some really bad advice. Unfortunately, she's getting this advice from people who are supposedly in Hollywood. Jesse really truly loved DeAnna. It all comes off as immaturity on DeAnna's part, which puts into perspective her very off-the-cuff behavior on the show." Pappas even admits that Sinsak was the wrong choice, telling Cosmo, "I was stuck in a relationship with someone that I hated for a very long time because I tried desperately to make it work." Nevertheless, DeAnna did eventually end up finding love through the Bachelor franchise. She married Steven Stagliano, brother of the Bachelorette contestant Michael Stagliano, in 2011, and they have 2 children together. Trista Sutter was the very first Bachelorette and launched the series with a bang. Compared to a lot of the insanity that goes on in more recent iterations, Season 1 seems tame, but that's just part of its charm. Sutter told Us Weekly,
"I kissed 3 guys, okay? 3 guys. And I think that the kisses are a little more plentiful."
Trista and Ryan Sutter's wedding was the first of the series to be televised. And years later, the couple is still going strong. Trista posted a heartfelt message on Instagram for their 15th anniversary, writing, "Thank you for loving me for me. Not fame or glory or just to win that final rose. You and our family are the best part of our story." Jen Schefft always looked over it on the show. And the disinterest not only made for a pretty lackluster season, but by rejecting both of her 2 remaining suitors, Jen made the season feel like a waste of time, and audiences were rightfully pissed off. Really, it just seems like Jen wasn't a good fit for the franchise, and her time on the show left everyone with a bad taste in their mouth. She left the reality TV world and settled down with Joe Waterman, who she met on a blind date. The couple now live in Ohio with their 2 daughters. Ashley Hebert was just the right amount of vulnerable without coming across too unstable.
Hey, baby. Wanna go for a spin?
But she undeservedly got dealt a tough hand when contestants thought they would be trying to win Emily Maynard. Ashley's season also had one of the most devious villains ever, in Bentley Williams, who straight up said that he was out to make her cry.
I came in thinking that Ashley was not attractive at all. I knew for a fact I wasn't going to fall in love with her.
Thankfully, once Williams was out, JP Rosenbaum slid right into Hebert's heart. Hebert and Rosenbaum's adorable pajama date night in immediately endeared us to their love story. Hebert's insecurities made her relatable, and it was very swoon-worthy watching, as Rosenbaum swept her off her feet. The 2 are still married and are raising a family together. It's difficult to place Andi Dorfman in the worst category because she did serve up an entertaining season. Plus, no one can argue that her shutdown of Bachelor Juan Pablo is nothing less than iconic.
You say, you've liked me from week 2, but that doesn't seem real to me because you don't even really know who I am.
Ultimately, it's a few odd decisions that have now landed Dorfman on the worst list. Perhaps the most controversial being her fantasy suite date with Nick Viall. On After the Rose, Andi pretty much confirmed that she knew she would pick Josh Murray at the end.
If you weren't in love with me, I'm just not sure why you made love with me. I don't.
Regardless of how you feel about Viall publicly announcing that they sealed the deal, it can come across as insensitive that she would take things that far in the fantasy suite. And of course, there's the fact that she picked Murray at all. Throughout the season, Dorfman states that she doesn't want to go for her usual type, athletic jocks who treat her badly. But she went on to pick the athletic jock who didn't treat her that well.
I think you never truly know yourself until you are independent.
Hopefully, Dorfman will find her own happiness someday with someone that deserves her. The level of drama was fairly low during Desiree Hartsock's season, which made some fans label it as boring. But Hartsock made up for the lack of petty infighting with sincerity and humor. She came across as very sweet and more laid back than other Bachelorette stars. The show felt less like a hyper-produced reality show and more like a documentary with Hartsock in the driver's seat. She always took the process seriously and gave the men the respect they deserved, even when she was breaking their heart. This made the shocking last-minute breakup with Brooks Forrester all the more heart-wrenching for fans.
I love you. I do. You're the only one I can say it.
The tears and emotion over Forrester made audiences think that Chris Siegfried was Hartsock's second choice and a consolation prize, more than someone she'd want to spend her life with. Nevertheless, the pair are still together and have 2 children. In hindsight, it was probably way too soon for Becca Kufrin to be the Bachelorette. She was the obvious choice, and audiences rushed to her side after The Bachelor's Ari blindsided her to be with Lauren Bushnell.
Do you want to be back with her?
I want to see if there's that possibility.
Are you kidding me?
Things started off okay when Kufrin began her journey to find true love, but the cracks started to show soon after. Kufrin was easily frustrated with the standard Bachelorette drama and would cancel cocktail parties often. To be fair to Kufrin, production made some really bizarre choices in casting the men that would pursue her. But when Kufrin had her head in the game, the season was just pretty boring. The goodwill she had garnered from her heartbreak was pretty much spent by the time she got engaged to Garrett. This wasn't helped by the fact that Garrett took some heat near the end of the season for his social media activity. Perhaps with time, Kufrin's season will be remembered more fondly. For now, though, it's not an enjoyable rewatch.
My season just seemed to be a controversial season. It was fun but challenging.
Kaitlyn Bristowe's season started off with a bang and one of the most unique and eventful premieres in Bachelorette history. It's hard to argue that Bristowe wasn't beloved when she was literally voted to be the Bachelorette. The dates also really showed off the wild and fun side of the show. What other season had both a boxing match date and a sumo wrestling date?
I made a mistake. That doesn't make me a bad person.
Nick Viall's return was highly controversial, but just added to the fun of Bristowe's season. It felt like anything could happen, and the show felt fresher than it had in a long time. Bristowe took everything they threw at her in stride, and viewers ate it up. Bristowe and season winner Sean Booth split up in 2018, and she started a romance with former Bachelorette contestant Jason Tartick in January 2019.
It's very strange. I still watch it and I'm like, I can't believe I did that.
Emily Maynard's turn on The Bachelorette was a bit middle of the road, but what tips it over is the fact that if Maynard hadn't rejected Ari, he would have never become the Bachelor. She could have spared us all from a season of saying, I love that, but still, it feels a little harsh saying that Maynard is one of the worst of the franchise, considering her long history of heartbreak.
Emily's fiancé died in a plane crash. A month later, Emily found out she was pregnant with their child, Ricky.
It could simply be that there just aren't any memorable moments from her season that stuck in the minds of viewers. Maynard broke up with her final pick, Jeff Holm, in 2012. Thankfully, after 2 failed engagements, Maynard found happiness when she married Taylor Johnson in a fairy tale wedding in 2014. JoJo Fletcher also had a questionable slew of guys to choose from, but had a lot of fun with the process. Plus, who doesn't love a little Southern charm? It was pretty much love at first sight for Fletcher when she saw Jordan Rogers walk out. The season was admittedly a bit predictable because of that, but Fletcher was able to keep fans glued to the tube the whole time.
Will you marry me?
Yes! Oh my God, I love
Give me that hand.
Yes.
Give me that hand.
Rogers proposed to Fletcher in the season finale, and the two are still together. No wedding date has been set, but the couple has their own YouTube channel showcasing their life together. Even though it's now been 2 years since the season ended, Fletcher's star continues to shine bright. Meredith Phillips starred in the second season of the show and could barely even attempt to fill the big shoes of Trista's charming love story. Her breakup with her winner Ian McKee also started the long trend of bachelorettes not living happily ever after with their final pick.
It's the 26th person in the room. Alcohol. Yeah.
It wasn't until after the show that Phillips began to gain some attention. She spoke up about her struggle with alcoholism and further criticized the show for its emphasis on pushing alcohol in the contestants. Even more shocking are her allegations that a masseuse assaulted her while the show was filming. It's clear that Phillips has endured a lot, but still she's optimistic. She is now married to her former high school sweetheart, Michael Brody, and is working on life post-addiction. Phillips admitted to People magazine, "It's no fun to start over again at 39, but life is short, and I have a second chance." On the long list of questionable bachelorettes, there was Jillian Harris. Harris also didn't end up with her pick, Ed Swiderski, but her season still packed a punch.
There are dozens of producers and executive producers and psychologists and people that are trying to figure out how to get people to crack.
Harris had a great sense of humor, and even when things were hard, she continued to captivate the audience with her charm. The couple may no longer be together, but Harris and Ed's journey on the show was one for the books, with Ed leaving in the middle of filming only to return when he realized his mistake. Harris also served as another great relationship with Reed Rosenthal. Even after the show ended, Reed still clearly had feelings for Harris in a show of sincerity the series often lacks. If you can't get enough of Harris, you can still find her on reality TV, but this time she's over on HGTV, hosting Love It or List It Vancouver. It's clear that she has a charisma about her that is simply made for TV. Watching Ali Fedotowsky as the Bachelorette is kind of like witnessing a kid in a candy store, full-on tantrums included.
There was ups, there was downs, it was a roller coaster in every sense of the word.
Ali was a pretty surprising pick from the 14th season of The Bachelor. During her own Bachelorette season, when Frank called things off because of feelings for his ex-girlfriend, Ali sort of brushed him off and went off on her own to sulk. Of course she was hurt, but this is a pretty cold and emotionally immature reaction considering Frank was a final 3 contestant. When the tables are turned, however, Ali feels differently about sticking it out for a chat.
You know, Justin, I think it's been especially difficult for you because you probably really miss your girlfriend in Canada.
She confronted Justin in front of the rest of the house about his girlfriend and demanded he stick around to talk with her.
You want to talk off camera? Justin, you seriously gonna walk away from me? You're gonna go out like this? This is how you want to be perceived?
Ali later broke up with fiancé Roberto Martinez in 2011 and went on to marry Kevin Mano in 2017. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.